Hello beautiful, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where we are going to dive into a full face of Natasha Denona. I've basically dug almost every Natasha Denona product I have from my collection. I have it here in front of me and we're just going to do a full face and I'm going to let you know what things I love, which things I am meh about, and we're also going to have some first impressions today. Well, it's not of the eyeshadow formula but of the mini Starlet palette, because I did end up buying this one. Well, I bought it partly with my money and partly with a gift card that I was given by Natasha Denona, so I thought I'd try it out and just let you know what I think about this one. But we have a lot of expensive makeup to dive into, so let's get cracking. So like I said, I did buy this one myself, but I did have a little money left on a gift card that I got from Natasha Denona. This is the mini Starlet palette. They gave me kind of almost like a PR credit to shop from the site, and I did buy a couple of other things that I have here that I'm going to be trying out, like this one, the Natasha Denona Super Glow. I still have not tried it, and this one, the Puff Paint. So we're going to be trying those out as well, and I'm going to be letting you know about some other things that, well, quite a lot of other things I have in my collection from Natasha Denona. I do have a discount code with Natasha Denona. If you use my code Angelica on the site, I will leave it in the description box as well. You will get 15% off the site, which is a really good bargain when you're dealing with a little bit more of an expensive brand like Natasha Denona. So this is the mini Starlet palette. This is available now on the website for $27. These are existing shades. These are from the Star palette. These are from the Lila palette. And it is also, and I brought it out here, it is the shimmer shade from the mini retro palette. Mini retro palette. The Galaxia shade that's over here is supposedly the same as the Galaxia shade, like the shade that's here. This one. Here. And you can see that these are a little similar. I will say a lot of people really love the mini retro palette, but I never really was in love with it because I didn't feel like I could mix these shades really together. Like the two mattes, I'm sorry, but I don't think they go together. And I'm sure they do if you do your makeup in a different way, but the way that I do my makeup, these two mattes just didn't go together. So for that reason, I think I will be enjoying this one a little bit more. And I also did bring out one of my most used palettes from Natasha Denona, which is the mini Xenon palette. And I thought that I can show you how I use this one to like mix and match with other palettes when I feel it's missing something that's really light or really dark. So this is the Natasha Denona Foundation X Plus. I have this one in two different shades, but I think I'm going to be able to make this one work together with like a bronzer. This is the 41Y light medium with a yellow undertone. It's called Sable. For a while there, we thought that this one was being discontinued, but I don't think it is. And this was my favorite foundation for a really long time. And the only reason why I'm not using this as much right now as I used to, because you can see it has this is really yellow and I'm a little red in my skin right now. This is also too light for me. You can see my face is not as tan as my body is, but it's fine. And this is also really yellow. I don't think I've noticed that until now. Wow, that is too light. Okay, it'll be fine. The only reason why I'm not using this right now is because this one does not hold up as good in humidity as it did in Sweden, that had not dry air, but like more, I want to say normal air. Does normal air make sense? I hope so. So that's why I haven't been using this as much here, but I still think it is a beautiful foundation. It is what I call an editorial full coverage. So it is a full coverage, but it's not that kind of a full coverage that we know from Instagram. It still lets some things peek through, so maybe it's more of a medium buildable, let's call it that. And it is a very light texture. It almost feels a little liquidy gel-like, and it does dry down to a natural matte, or like in just a natural finish. It's definitely not glowy. It does dry down. It just doesn't hold up as great in humidity as it did in Sweden. So, and that could also be because my skin changed a bit when I moved here. I do have more combo skin, and in Sweden I had more normal skin, but I still think that the finish of this foundation is beautiful. So if you do not live in a humid climate, or if you do not have oily skin or combo skin, I do think that you would love this foundation. I will say, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm predicting from the Natasha Denona brand now after the launches that she has done as of late. Natasha Denona releases a lot of eyeshadow, and I think that that is the hero product of the brand. But I will say, I think she got a lot of hype with the concealer that we're gonna use in a bit, so I would not be surprised if we saw another foundation formula coming from Natasha Denona. I am thinking that maybe for next spring, we're gonna have a light coverage skin tint from Natasha Denona. And there is also one product missing in her range. And we'll talk about that a bit as well, and I really think we're gonna see that soon. So I didn't love this concealer when I got it initially. I thought it was a little bit too thick, and I used a little bit too much the first time I used it, and I really didn't like it. It looked heavy under my eyes. I have noticed that if I use less, because this has an applicator that picks up a lot of product, but I have noticed if I use less, I like it more. This one is described though as a serum consistency. I have mine in N8. I think it is a light medium with a neutral undertone. And I will say, I don't think this is serum-like. I think this is thicker than that. If you're expecting something that is more lighter in consistency, I personally think that there's a lot of options that are lighter than this one. This is a little bit more on the creamier side. Not heavy, but definitely not thin. And I don't think that's myself that serum is the consistent. It's not the word that I would use to describe this concealer. I've heard a lot of people really loving this concealer. Now that I use less, I think it's okay. It definitely is full coverage. I do think that it covers everything, but I think it is a little bit too creamy for my under eyes. So there are other concealers that I prefer. But if you don't mind a concealer that is a little bit more on the creamy side, I really think you would like this one. Which is also the reason why I ended up buying the corrector from Huda Beauty instead of Natasha Denona, because I think the Huda Beauty Faux Filter Concealer is lighter in consistency than this one, so I thought it'd be easier to layer two of those on top of each other than layering two of this formula on top of each other, because I think that would be definitely too much for my skin. Natasha Denona does have a loose powder, and I feel like loose powder is probably one of those things that she will probably dive into in the future, but I think the biggest one that she doesn't have, there's nothing on the site that says bronzer. She has a bronze palette, she has a bronze face palette, but let's be honest, the bronze face palette does not have a bronzer in there. There are bronzy toned blushes and highlighters. There's no bronzers from Natasha Denona. There is a sculpt powder, but I do not own it because I don't contour. I would be wildly surprised if we do not have a Natasha Denona bronzer within a year's period. So instead, I'm going to be using this one. This is the Trixie Stick Cream Bronzer Stick. I'm just trying out a new product in the midst of this. I actually got this one from a fellow creator on Instagram. His name is Beauty Be Billy. He has an amazing Instagram account and you really should be checking him out. And we were talking about how we were getting some either duplicates in PR or stuff in PR in shades that do not work for us. Like I said, I am a light medium and I am pretty tan right now. I've been enjoying my pool time, and he is more of a fair light skin tone, so he sent me some things that he had duplicates of and some things that he had gotten. They were a little bit too deep for him, like this one in Sunset Tina, which I think is going to be a good bronzer for me, and I am going to send him a package with some things that I've gotten duplicates in and that I think is going to fit him better. It's like the influencers unite, like we need to stand together and help each other out because nobody gets PR, at least not our size. Am I going to do it like this? I probably should have taken it from the, yeah, we're definitely taking it on the sponge next time, but nobody gets PR from every brand. So sometimes we can just help each other out. I'm gonna do it like this and just, you know, share the things that we get so that more people can review more things and stuff like that. I've been sending stuff to other creators for a really long time. I recently sent a PR package that I got a duplicate of from Half Magic to Ali Dawson because I'm like, I don't need two of this. So I literally just taped it back together and I sent it to Ali and I was like, I heard you never tried this brand. Why don't you give it a go? I think this bronzer has a really nice shade for me, but it's not as emollient from the stick as I would prefer. It is a little bit more of a firmer stick, so I don't think that this one would work good painting on the skin directly. Well, you could see how it looked. But using it on the sponge and probably also using it on a brush works out great. I think myself, I prefer something that's slightly more emollient, but I will say this color is perfection and I am getting closer to the color of the rest of my body. What do you think about Natasha Denona and bronzers? Do you think we're gonna get some? I really think there's gonna be bronzers. I think she's gonna come out with new kinds of powders. And like I said, I will be deeply surprised. Deeply surprised. My neck is the lightest part of my body. Deeply surprised if there's not another foundation formula coming up in the future. What do we think about this? I'm a little red on my body now because I was spending a little too much time out by the pool yesterday, so I am staying indoors today, but I think it's a little lighter than my hands, but I think I can get away with it. I think that this looks really good. Let me actually use some other powder that I have and do my brows, and we can start with the cheek products because Natasha Denona makes amazing cheek products, and I have so many things that I could recommend to you. Okay, so a little brows and a little powder later. This is what we look like. I think I am fairly close to my skin tone. Makes me excited. Okay, I have so many cheek products from Natasha Denona, and I've had even more. And since I have this many, like, these are the ones that I had from before, I've also decluttered some and just kept my absolute favorites. So these are my favorites. There are one mini blush that has been able, like one of these minis that have been able to stay in my collection, and this is the Mini Bloom. This is a glowy, bright corally pink blush. It is beautiful. If you go in with a sheer hand on this, well, sheer hand, but like if you go in more sheerly with this one, it will work on a fair skin tone. If you pack it on, I'm sure that this will show up and look beautiful on a deeper skin tone as well. It's just a beautiful, beautiful blush. And if you want to try the formula, I think this is as good as our other formulas. And if you want to save some money and just try out the formula, this mini one in Bloom, I definitely recommend it. I also have this Plexi highlighter. I think it's called, yeah, Pastel Plexi Glow Highlighter. This is a baked gelée formula. I don't know if you see it here. It goes from a pink to a green. On me, this is just a vanilla gold, vanilla white. Like it's just a light, it's a beautiful highlighter, but there is nothing duochrome or multichrome, or on me, nothing green or pink going on at all, but it is a beautiful highlighter to just brush on your cheekbones. But if you wanted to get a fun highlighter, like something that is a little colored, I don't think that this will be the one, but it is good quality. It just isn't the one. These are still in my collection, but I think I will declutter these because I think they have officially been discontinued and I haven't actually used them for a while. But this is a beautiful formula. This is the Duo Glow. This is her highlighter blush hybrid that she had before the formula was popular, and for that reason I think she should bring these back. Hear me out. I think she should bring these back, but bring them back in another format, not in a big one like this. Maybe in a smaller one, maybe in like a duo, something, because glowy cheeks highlighter, like highlighter blush hybrids are very popular. This one is in Rayo, right? Yes, Rayo. And this one is in Alba, and this is the gold. Oh, it's so pretty, like a gold peach coral. These are great quality products, but they're not available, not even on her website anymore. And I really think that she should consider bringing this formula back, but in a new format, maybe for spring, because I feel like people are really excited about this kind of a formula. And it's a shame that it's gone because it is so beautiful. Then I have two of her bigger palettes. The one that I have is the Love Glow. I think this one came out, I want to say last Valentine's. Usually has a Valentine's collection. This one has 4 different formulas, and honestly, there's a little flap here. I think that this one is great quality, and I really personally like all the formulas in here, and I think they bring different things. There is one that is a cream, there is a baked one, there are 2 more glowy powder one. Honestly, I think this palette is beautiful. This packaging isn't for me. I mean, it's very Barbiecore right now if you're into that aesthetics. It's not just for me, but I'm not a big fan of pink cheeks, and I still think that this one is really beautiful. There is also one that is a little bit more of a, this one like a little bit more of a corally gold. I think this is great quality. It's a beautiful palette, and if you wanted to try more than one formula, I definitely recommend it. I also have a bunch of eyeshadow palettes as well, and I also have that eye and cheek palette, face palette. I have that one, both in the Love one and in the Deep one. Those are nice quality if you're looking for something like that. I personally like having my eye products and my cheek products in different packaging, but that is me. This one is my favorite though, and this one I think is the newest one. This is what I'm saying, another format. Bring back this formula in a trio like this and just make maybe one of those like highlighter blush formulas, a blush and a highlighter, like that together in a trio would be amazing. This one is a cream, like a cream balm, but it still looks really beautiful and not greasy on the skin. There is, I think it is the Super Glow formula. Glow Cream Dream Glow Powder Cream Blush. Oh, it is the highlighter formula that's in her, you know, the eye and cheek palettes I talked about. And it is a cream to powder blush in here as well. I think this is beautiful. This color story is beautiful. This is from the, I think it's my, yeah, my Dream Cheek palette. That entire collection was absolutely stunning. And this is my favorite one. But now we're gonna try out 2 new things from Natasha Denona. This is the puff paint. These came out when I was in Sweden, and for one reason or another, I didn't try them out because I wasn't that into liquids, and I also, I just, sometimes it's really hard to get a hold of some of these things in Sweden. So that is very light. I don't know why I got this light color. This is like a light brownie peach. This one is in Secret. I don't know. This one doesn't say the name, but it only comes in 3 colors, so I don't think it would be that hard to realize which one it is. Oh, that lifted. That. Do you see that? It literally just lifted. Do you... I did not powder that, by the way. I just powdered here. What am I gonna do about that? Okay, let me put a little foundation on top of that and let's try again. Take 2. Okay, so I found a way to make it work on the other cheek, and that is that I literally painted the blush on my sponge and I just sponged it on, and that really worked. So sometimes you have to work differently with different formulas because they lift, but I think that this one looks really good once I did this. Am I blown away by the formula? No. Am I sad that I didn't like use it before? Not really, but I will say now that I have it on, it does look really pretty, right? I do be thinking that that looks really pretty. Oh, I also noticed that I forgot to fill in a couple of hairs in my brows. Let me see if I can just perfect this, or I say perfect it like my brows are ever perfect, but like do them in the way that I like them, which is the most important thing. Do your makeup in the way that you like it, not in the way that you think that others are gonna like it. It's not for others, it's for you. I think I'm gonna let this one dry down completely before we go in with the highlighter powder, which I've never used, but I've heard so many people, so many of my friends, Samantha March, Nomad Beauty, say that this is one of their favorite highlighter formulas, and I just do not know why I didn't use it before. I did buy, and some of these things I've gotten as PR, and per usual, I will put a little asterisk behind all the things that I've gotten in PR, and the things that I bought myself, which, let's be honest, most of these I've bought myself with my own money. The affiliate code with Natasha Denona is a very recent thing. I've been supporting this brand for a year, but I did get a couple of these things when I got some PR credits from the brand. I did buy a couple of red lip products, but I'm not going to be using these today. This one I have used from before. This is the liquid lipstick formula. This one is the I Need a Rouge matte liquid lipstick. It is really pretty. It lasts a really long time. It is somewhat comfortable on the lips. It does dry down completely. It's not super drying on the lips, but it definitely is one of those formulas that dries down completely. I have not tried this slim lipstick yet. I bought the one that was a little bit more of a warmer orangey red, and I think it looks absolutely stunning with the lip liner as well. I got the matching lip liner that I cannot show you. And I do really like the lip liner formula from Natasha Denona, but I don't want to do red lips today. I do have some of her lipsticks, and I do have a gloss. This is the Natasha Denona My Dream Lip Gloss, which is honestly just the most perfect color in the world. It really is, and I really, really like the I Need a Nude lipstick formula. This one is in Noah, which is honestly one of my most used nude lipsticks. I think it's absolutely stunning. But I thought today we can use the My Dream lipstick, because this one is a little bit more glossy, and it is a little bit more thinner in consistency. It's glossier, and honestly, it is a beautiful lipstick. I'm gonna use it with the lip liner, and I really hope she comes out with more shades in this thinner, glossier formula, because it is absolutely perfection. Okay, let's get this on. Right now, this specific formula only comes in one shade, which is Natasha. So it is Natasha Denona's My Dream Collection. So this is her Perfect Nude, which is also a really good nude on me. I've actually met Natasha Denona in real life. I went to like a Sephora meet and greet that she had when I was in New York together with Karen Harris and Amy from Amy Loves Makeup. And we met her in store and it was honestly kind of cool. It was kind of cool. She was super sweet. She complimented my makeup. And that's when I actually bought the Metropolis palette, which is one of my favorite palettes. I'm just going to be applying a little bit of this one. Ooh, yeah. This is definitely one of those wet looking highlighters. It is, I can already tell, it is like an extreme glow, but a transparent base. Yeah, I can definitely see why people are obsessed about this formula because it is very light, very reflective, but at the same time, there is no cast and it is going on very smoothly without any sparkle or glitter. There's a little bit more icy than I prefer. This one is in the Super Glow in light medium. But yeah, it does definitely look wet. I'm just gonna go over a little bit, so. That is really pretty. I think she needs to come up with this one in more shades. Or maybe like I said in that, maybe a duo. This one with the highlighter blush hybrid, this in a duo. I'm like, I think we're ready. So I have the eye bases from Natasha Denona as well. And this is the new packaging that she has. I have it in light and medium, but I'm not 100% sure if she still has these shades, if I'm gonna be honest. But I am gonna mix them because I think that light is a little too light. And I think that medium is probably a little bit too dark now that I'm doing some lighter shades. I really like this formula. I'm actually going to be using a sponge. I really like this formula, but I will say I think that this formula, if you don't let it set a little bit, does make your matte shadows look a little shiny. So, and that is something that I didn't notice as of like first, but I think that once I started comparing this one to the Sigma eye primer that I really like, that's when I think I noticed. But overall, I really do like this eye primer. I just need to leave it for a couple of seconds before I go in with eyeshadow, and I also need to not use too much because then it really becomes super creamy. But I think overall it's a really good eye primer, and especially if you are just, you know, a low maintenance eye primer. You don't want something sticky, you don't want something goopy, you don't want something that's hard to blend upon. I really think that you will enjoy this one. Although I will say I don't know how many shades it comes in now, but it is a pretty one. Okay, I think we are ready to go in with some eyeshadows. We are going to be playing with this and we are going to see if this one can get... Let me see if I can use all the shades, honestly. Let me see if I can use all the shades, and then if I need to add some contrast, because I love a makeup look with contrast, I will go in with my fave, the Mini Xenon. I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to be using my own brushes. I don't know if Natasha Denona has brushes, but I have a brand. I have my own beauty brand that's called Cinch Beauty. I have brushes, so I'm really using my brushes because clearly I think they're great. I'm going to go in with the EO3, which is my fluffiest brush. And I basically only use this brush when I know I want to have a fluffy color in the crease. I like to usually be a little bit more detailed than this, a little bit more... I have a plan with my shadows, but this one, it is just a... I want to say a pinky taupe. And I want to put this one just all over and just fluff it around to just create a little bit of contour in the crease before we go in with that color that's a little deeper. I will say, when I saw the first pictures of this palette, I thought that this was going to be more pink than it is. And I think that maybe that was the product photography, but it is leaning a little, it's more like, yeah, a pinky taupe. That's how I would describe this one, a pinky taupe. I love that this one is pointed so that I can still get in the crease and get the most color there, and then I just fluff on the edges and make it smooth. Honestly, if you are a bride, I feel like this would be the most amazing little quint for a bride. Because again, of the tones, obviously not if you have a deeper skin tone than me, because you will have a problem with some of these showing up. But I do think the color scheme is leaning very bride. Okay, I'm gonna go in with the EO2 instead, and I'm gonna use this one that is the darker color. And it seems also a little bit more cool tone than the other one. And I will say, one of the things that I really like with Natasha Denona is her eyeshadows. I like all of the Natasha Denona eyeshadow formulas. I love the mattes, I love the metallics, I love the toppers, the duochromes, the multichromes. I love her gel to powder formula. I think it is beautiful. And what I really like about her formulas is that they're so buildable, that you can build on a color on itself to create dimension with only one color. So I really think that I will be able to create some dimension just with using this color. You can see it's already showing up like almost darker than it is in the pan, because it is just such a good formula to build with, so that you can create some dimension without using 200 different shadows. So they're not always like what you see in the pan isn't always what you're gonna get. You can definitely manipulate it even more on the eyes, I would say. And I think that this is almost like, for me, this is as cool toned as I like to go on my eyes. I don't, when it comes to neutrals, I should say. When it comes to neutrals, when it comes to colors, I love like a cool tone purple, a cool tone blue. Ugh, I love it. When it comes to neutrals, I'd like them to be a little bit more warmer, because I do have a pretty warm undertone, and now I used a very yellow foundation as well. But honestly, I think it really does lean very close to my body's skin tone now that I have everything on. I think it was that I was in the sun a little bit too long yesterday, and my face was turning a little red. So I think that also made it look so yellow when I got it on. But I don't like grays on me. I know that others do. I just don't prefer them on me. I also think it's harder for me to work with grays. I can make it work, it just takes longer. And I just prefer to work with colors that are a little warmer. But I honestly think that this looks really nice. And I think I will have to use a minimal amount of the Mini Xenon palette to add a little bit more depth to this. I think I'm gonna be doing, with an EO1, I'm gonna flip it to the side. And I'm gonna do that same color, and I'm just gonna put the same two matte colors under my eyes. I actually really like how that came out. So we have two shimmers here. Let me just, this one is a pale peach to a muted gold. Very, very pretty. It's like a slight duochrome. And then we have this one that is like a taupey pink base. You can see a taupey pink base, and then there's almost like a blue purple bright icy shift to it. Not like a crazy duochrome, but definitely a duochrome. I think I'm gonna be using both of these. Let's use it all. What am I gonna do with this matte shadow in the middle? Because this is definitely too dark to be an inner corner highlight on me. But we'll make it work. So I'm gonna use a little bit of this peachy one, and I think I'm just gonna brush that here to soften up the inner part. I will say, this will be a perfect lid color if you wanna do an all matte look. And I'm kinda excited that they gave us something like that, so that you can do an all matte look if you want to. So let me do this one first, and then I'll do this one, and let's just start on the other, like, outer part of the crease. I am going to be spraying these because I don't want fallout, and I want this to look as impactful as possible. So I'm going to start with it here. That is quite the cute shade. Do I usually do looks like this? No, but it looks cute. Can't deny. Let's try that. Is it called Galaxia shade? I'm sure I have tried this one before. A lot of people say that this one is their favorite, and they're super excited to see this in the palette. And I'm just like, not even sure what this shade is. Oh yeah, that is very, very bright. Oh yeah, that is a very wet look, and it matches the cheeks, honestly. I'm gonna add a little bit of this in the inner part of the lower lash line. I mean, it looks a little like model of duty makeup. It looks really, really, really pretty. And this is what you could do with this palette right here. It looks really nice. Let's give a little bit of extra like contrast with this one. So I'm gonna be using the black and I'm gonna be using the white. It's not really a classic white. It's more like an off-white. So I'm gonna start with that one and I'm just gonna put that in my inner corners. Again, this is just, I like a matte inner corner. I think it is very forgiving for all the little, you can see all the little crevices and folds and stuff that comes with age. I just think that a matte inner corner just hides that and brightens without making me look more structured than I need to be. Something like this. And then I'm gonna take an EO5, which is my smallest blending brush, and we're gonna do this black. And we're just gonna do a little bit out here. And this also is a quick tutorial of how I make my looks even more dramatic and contrasty using black and white. You can see, I just use a little bit and it really did help. And I'm just pushing it in a little wedge on the outer lash line, and I'm gonna blend just a little bit here. That's it. You can see the difference. With, without, with, and without, but soon with. Another thing that Natasha Denona does not have, at least I don't think so, is mascara. There is none that I know of. And again, I would be super surprised if we did not see a Natasha Denona mascara coming in the somewhat near future. Okay, I do have some liners from Natasha Denona, but I don't think they really go with this look. There is a yellow, there is a green. These are indeed green, yellow, and there is a like a tealy blue. These are from the Yucca palette, and if you wanted to try a bigger eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona, that is now my favorite midi palette from Natasha Denona. My second favorite is probably the original retro. I think that is my second favorite, I'm gonna be honest. I really, really, really like the Metropolis as well, but it is a little bit more expensive. But I'm not gonna be using any of these because I do love these. I think they're amazing. I'm so happy I bought them. I hope they come up with more colors. I really love the formula, but these are not colors that go with this bridal thing. I also have the liquid liner. This is the, I think it's called Macro Blade liquid liner. It is a felt tip liner, but it actually is a really good felt tip liner. With that being said, this is extremely pigmented and you get like, just touching it, you get a lot. So if you are a beginner with liquid liner, maybe this isn't for you, but if you like liquid liner, if you just want to have a good liquid liner to do your wing with, this is the best, I think. This is the best felt tip liner I've ever tried. So if you are looking for that, and if you like felt tip, this is the best felt tip that I've ever tried, but it is very pigmented and it really is saturated all the way to the tip, which is what you want in a felt tip liner. So I'm just letting you know about that. But I don't want to do wing because I want to keep it like this. Instead, I'm going to do this peachy liner. This is actually from Colourpop. I feel like peach fuzz. I feel like I'm like diving in with some like affordable makeup in here, but I really wanted to keep it matching with the eye look. Another thing that Natasha Denona does not have, except mascara and bronzer, is setting spray, I think. There might be one, but if there is one, it's super old and it never like got the hype that she maybe wanted it to. So some of these things, I think she will discontinue and maybe bring out in new formats. So I, again, would be surprised if we didn't see that as well. Something like that as well. I'm actually going to be putting on some half lashes. I got these from, these are super intense and I'm not going to be using all of these. And these I also got by Beauty B, the creator I talked about before. And he said that he cuts these to make them into a half lash. So we are going to do that and we're going to see if we can get a nice half lash. Because I feel with the little darkness in the outer part here, a half lash is going to be perfect for this look. But overall, I mean, as you can see, This is very flattering makeup, very beautiful makeup, and this is very like, yeah, bridal-esque. But honestly, I think it looks pretty, and I mean, I am going on a date tonight, so why not? Okay, let's cut some of these and let's put a half lash on. I mean, I do be looking like a supermodel right now. I think it's really cute. What is my hair doing? Don't look at that. Don't look at my hair, look at my face. In the beginning of my channel, like in the Wayback Machine, I used to say Natasha Denona because I was like, makeup isn't worth that. That is too expensive. But I gotta say, once I got into the brand, I have to admit, these are some really luxurious formulas. These are some really luxurious products. And even with the full face of Natasha Denona, except bronzer, lashes, brows, I do think it looks absolutely incredible. And I think that overall, this brand has a lot of hits and does really, really good makeup. And I hope this video was somewhat helpful if you were interested in diving into the brand, or if you were just curious to see this new palette that I honestly, where did I put it? Here. I think this is really cute. Again, if you're into this kind of makeup look, I did use a little bit of the Xenon palette to make it a little bit more dramatic, but as you can see, even before I added that, it was still a very cute and cohesive look. So if you like these kind of tones, I do think that this is a well curated palette, something for the crease, something to deepen up with, a matte lid color if you want to have that, and then 2 shiny colors for the lid, one more shiny than the others. I think overall it is a really cute palette, and I think it is a well curated story, but again, do remember, none of these shades are new. I hope this helped. I will link everything down below. I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you again tomorrow for a new video. Bye!